Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders. Welcome to part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for the trading week of September 12th through September 16th. Hopefully you have already seen part 1 of our weekly trading game plan, where we did our market analysis, discussed our strategies, etc. If you have not already seen part 1, titled How to Make Money Trading with a Strong Dollar, we'd highly recommend that you also view part 1, as again that has all of our market analysis, our strategies, etc., that we're now going to apply in selecting our individual stocks, etc., to put on our watch list, put in our bullpen, put in our shopping list for this week for September 12th through September 16th. So we'll get started. Here's our notes, our Google document notes for part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for this week. And you can find these notes, these Google document notes, in our trading game plans folder under our BeachBum public folder on our Google Drive. You can find a link in the description box below. We'll give you access to all of these notes. Notes have links to related videos, all the tools that we're going to use, etc. And welcome and thank you for joining us, all the fellow BeachBum traders in the chat. Nugam, Captain Matty, Spacula, DS Greg. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Glad to see you all. Thank you again for joining us. So we'll get started. So first I'm going to go over some of our trades from this week, show you, what trades we made, etc. We'll do some very quick analysis. I'll talk about them first, and then we'll jump over to the charts. Well, I'll probably jump to the chart for each one. So AGQ is the long leveraged ETF long on silver. And you can see we entered on 831 and got stopped out at 9.8 at pretty much break even, small loss. So we'll take a look at that one real quickly. So you can see we got in on this dip on 831 at about 931, 1931 when it dipped pre-market. We rode it up, and then when it dipped on 9.8, unfortunately we got stopped out again. I'll talk about this a little bit, lessons learned, etc. A lot of times I'm away from the desk, I'm walking the beach, laying on the beach or whatever, or for other people that are working in a job, whatever. To protect my profits or protect it from turning against me, I'll put a stop in, and that may have been a little too aggressive because I got stopped out when it briefly dipped under, and then you could see it turned around and ran back up. But again, didn't lose any money, or just lost a very small amount. But again, it's just possibly too aggressive of moving that stop up. I like AGQ. If we get another dip down, you can see I've got the price target now at the recent low. So if it dips back down, we like that leverage long in silver. So just another reminder is when we make trades, any of these trades that I'm going to review, if we get stopped out, etc., we will post those. It might get an automated alert posted in the Thinkorswim alerts channel under alerts in our Discord. If I don't get a Thinkorswim alert automatically posted there, then I will update it myself in the trade alerts. So you'll find these when we enter or exit a trade. Our Patreons have access to these alerts channels and get real-time or close as possible real-time alerts to all of these trades. So you can find an invite to our Discord in the description box below. And again, these channels are for our Patreon members. If you wish to support our channel, joining our Patreon, and you'd like to get these types of real-time alerts, again, you'll get those both email through Patreon and in the alerts channel in our Discord. So the other one is just an FYI, and again, I posted this in those alert channels too, is we've had a position in KOLD, which is the short on natural gas for quite some time. Natural gas has been very volatile. We have done some additional scalp trading and made some additional money. But for our long-term short on natural gas, I sold a longer term strike price covered call, generate some additional revenue while we wait for natural gas to eventually roll over. So again, it's another strategy to make money if you're in a long position, if you're holding a bag, etc., or it's just a long-term investment. There's another way to essentially create a self-generated dividend is by selling covered calls. And we do have some videos about how to sell covered calls in Webull and E-Trade, etc. And there's one even called why it's potentially a double-edged sword. So I'd also recommend you view that video. What we're going to do is also, if natural gas spikes up again, the cold will dip, and essentially we'll buy this call back cheaper and keep the difference in premium. And we'll just keep doing that, until natural gas finally rolls over. Welcome, Johnny Trades and Flippa the Shippa. Thank you also for joining us. Glad to see you all. Hope you're doing well as well. So our other one we'll talk about is NGD. I know at least a few of our fellow BeachBum traders also got into NGD. They're a gold miner, gold, silver, copper miner. You'll see we got in at 65.01 on the 30th. We got stopped out finally on 73 at 73.41 on Friday. And again, this was one where I put a stop in and then was away from my desk for a while. But you can see we made a nice 13% ROI profit on that one, which equates to a 39% monthly profit. So congratulations to all of our other fellow BeachBum traders who made money on this NGD scalper swing. We'll take a look at that real quickly. Again, I got in at the 30th. So here's NGD. So I got in on the 30th when it dipped at 65.01. And then you could see it chopped around a while, right around that pivot point, then ran up. And then at the last minute on Friday, they spiked it down and I got stopped out. You can see that alert at 73.41. So, we made a nice profit. If gold, silver get pushed down, again, we talked yesterday about the dollar strength, the effect of dollar strength. If the dollar pushes back up, it will pressure dollar-denominated commodities, which will include gold and silver. So we might get opportunities to enter these again. I don't have them on the watch list right now because they're high, but if they get pushed down, then we'll add them back to the watch list, and I still like both of those. Captain May is talking about NVIDIA. Please remind me again when we get to the Q&A section, and I will look at NVIDIA and any other particular tickers you guys want. Let me get through the basics, and then when we get to the Q&A, I'll cover additional tickers, and I do have some outstanding questions that I promised to try to answer in today's session. So. USOI is a long ETN, monthly dividend paying ETN on oil. So you'll see when oil dipped on 9.7, it pushed USOI down. So again, this was an effect of the dollar strength. The strong dollar pushed oil down as well as the high inventory build. So we'll see at 9.7, USOI dipped a bit. I've been wanting to get into this to just essentially collect the monthly dividend. So I got in, I think at 435. So I got in around here on the 7th when it dipped. And you can see now it's up a little bit. The ex-dividend date on USOI as well as GLDI and SLBO, which are all Credit Suisse monthly dividend payers on oil, gold, and silver, is the 20th. So if you want to get in and start collecting monthly dividends using these ETNs, these monthly dividend paying ETNs, the ex-dividend is 920. Now, again, on that ex-dividend date, all of these guys are likely to dip the value of the dividend paid, so be careful with your stops. Again, it's going to dip on that ex-dividend date. You don't want to get stopped out if you want to hold this long term. So. Checking some comments in the chat a sec. So the other one is YINN. YINN is the long on Chinese tech. You can see it's the Bull 3X leveraged ETF on the FTSE China. And they had been heavily shorting China with all the lockdowns, etc. And it pushed yen down. Thank you to Spacula for pointing this one out, that it was down, looked like it was approaching a support, looked attractive. We added it to our watch list. You can see we entered on 9.8 and got stopped out on 9.8. And unfortunately, that was another example of, I was probably a little bit too aggressive with the stops. I was away from my desk, didn't want it to go into a loss, and just got, shaken out. And then it gapped up the next day. So again, I didn't want it to reverse on me with the leveraged ETF, and I was probably too aggressive with that stop. Could have made a nice profit with that nice gap up. So congratulations to any of our other fellow BeachBum traders who were in that yen trade, caught that nice gap up or nicely in profit. We're going to watch yen again and see if we get a reversal. Again, these Chinese techs are very volatile. A lot of the news, good news, bad news, yin and yang flip back and forth. Yin is the long on China, yang is the short on China. Lately, again, yang's been way up because they've been shorting it heavily, and yen bottomed and then spiked up when it reversed. So you can scalp, day trade those guys, make money pretty much any day, just looking at yin and yang, which direction they're headed, and look for those gap ups. So I hope that all helps. So we talked about, if you want to get these types of real-time alerts when we enter or exit a trade, you can join our Patreon. Again, it's perfectly voluntary. I don't recommend, people follow me in trades, but I'll alert you as to what we're doing. Again, none of this is financial advice. It's educational and entertainment only, purposes only. But again, if you want to see what trades we're making, you can get those real-time alerts. So, and again, I talked about lessons learned about being aggressive, overly aggressive with stops. But again, you want to protect your profits. You don't want things to reverse on you. The markets have been very volatile. We're in a bear market, so the tendency is still down in general. So that's, if I'm going to be away, I'd rather get stopped out at a small loss or a break even than have it reverse on me when there's nothing I can do about it. So I hope that helps. So now we'll jump into our watch list updates for this week. This is our main watch list that we watch real time, run automation against, get real-time automated price alerts on. So BDRY is dry bulk shipping, and we've been watching this for a while. We had our bullpen. We moved it up to our watch list. We'll look at the chart in a second. BVN was another gold silver miner, a Peruvian. It's run up, so we're removing that one. Pretty much, gold silver ran up towards the end of the week, and so we're not going to chase any additional gold miners. Same thing with NGD. We're not going to chase it right now. If it comes back down, we may take another look at those guys. EURL is a leveraged 3X on the European market, and it had been declining, and we had it in our bullpen, and we moved it up to our main watch list on the 7th. It did make a little bit of a run when the dollar weakened, so the euro strengthened, the European market strengthened. Also, the ECB, the European Central Bank, hiked their interest rates by 75 basis points, so that seemed to be received positively. So the European market went up a little bit. But if we get a little bit of a dip, again, on dollar strength, if the dollar strengthens, it might push Europe down a bit. We might get an entry point in this leveraged ETF on Europe. We've talked about cold. Cold and boil are the short and long on natural gas. Natural gas is very volatile. I know several of our traders have been scalping, day trading natural gas very profitably, and we'll continue to keep an eye on that. I prefer to wait for, a spike up to its all-time high for natural gas to hit all-time high, and then I would add an additional short using cold for a scalp or a swing trade. We talked about USOI, long USOI. Okay, somebody asked in the chat and I can jump over there when I get to the Q&A too, about who it was that asked. It was a new fellow BeachBum trader about playing volatility, and we talked in part one, and we've talked a number of times about how I like to play volatility in general. And I found a new ETF, and when we get to our ETF section, we'll compare the risk reward profiles of UVXY versus VXX. Both of these are longs on volatility, longs on the VIX, but they have a little bit of a different strategy, and so they have a little bit of a different risk reward profile. Right now, I think the risk reward profile for VXX is a little bit more attractive than UVXY. Again, just to mention, and when I mentioned in the Discord as well, and I'll mention again when we get to Q&A, but I tend to watch the VIX to determine entry and exit points for these volatility ETFs. So when the VIX bottoms and turns up, that should be the trigger. That's what you're looking for as an entry point for UVXY or VXX. These guys are leveraged ETFs, so they tend to decay over time. So the bottom on UVXY, it may be hitting a new 52-week low, but the VIX is still elevated. It's still declining. So again, my price targets on volatility-based ETFs, particularly leveraged ETFs, is based on the price action of the VIX. I hope that all makes sense, and I hope that responds to the person that asked the question in the Discord. We talked about yen. We'll take a quick look at these. Just another FYI, our Patreons have access to a web page that is automatically updated on a daily basis with any changes during the week that I make to these watch lists or nowadays the bullpen. It has price targets, etc., that are also updated daily. So if you'd like to have access to daily updates to our watch list, you can join our Patreon and get access to those. If I do make a change during the day, I would post any change in our Discord channel, stock watch list, etc. So I made some late changes on the 7th, and so I posted those changes in that Discord channel as well. And again, our Patreons have access to this channel as well. So again, if you want intra-week, intra-day changes to our watch list, you can do that through our Patreon membership. So we'll look at our main watch list. Again, this is the online browser version of Webull. I tend to use the online browser version. You can see you can have many watch lists in Webull. It's quick and easy to maintain them. Webull's still offering their 12 free stock deal if you open and fund a new account. So if you're not using Webull, they have a browser version, a desktop version, a mobile app version. I tend to use the browser and the desktop. I don't really use the mobile app currently, but you can use any of them. If you open an account, you get 2 free stocks, each valued up to $300. And then if you deposit any amount within 10 days, $1, a cent, whatever, you get 4 to 10 more free stocks, each valued up to $3,000. And so again, why, if you're not already using Webull, why not open and put $1 in the account, get your 12 free stocks? If you don't like the platform, you can cash them out and not use the platform. But I think you'll like it. It's our preferred trading platform. I do most of my trading through Webull. So again, you can have all kinds of watch lists, nice features. So we'll quickly just look at the charts for the ones I've still got on the watch list. Talked about dry bulk shipping. This had been declining for a long time. We had it in the bullpen. It finally bottomed. You see it bounce. I wasn't going to chase it. If we catch just a little bit of a dip back down to support, maybe at that pivot, I'd rather have it down here. But if it does stabilize at one of these pivot points, I'd like to go long on dry bulk shipping. I looked at some seasonality for dry bulk shipping prices, and that also seemed to support this thesis that we might see a reversal swing back up. EURL, again, this is the leveraged on Europe. We see it bounced back on the 1st, and then again gapped up on the 7th. or on the 9th, I mean, you can kind of see I'd like it to come down a little bit. And then again, I think that's a long-term swing. Europe's been beaten up pretty severely. And again, they just raised their interest rates as well. So talked about cold. Cold is the short on natural gas. It's high right now because natural gas has come down. It is very volatile, so it could very easily, natural gas could run back up, drive coal back down, and give us an entry point. Again, here's the low. So if it hits an all-time high, it would drive coal back down here, and we would take another scalp swing trade, another position in that. Welcome, Doge of Wall Street. Glad to see you in our live stream today. Welcome to our BeachBum community. So again, here's UVXY, and we'll also see VXX. We got a little bit of elevation in the VIX. It went up to 25, 26 or so, didn't break 30 really, and now it's coming back down. So UVXY is coming back down. I would prefer, as I commented in the Discord response, and you guys have heard me in the part 1 analysis, I'd love to see the VIX at least at 20. If it continues to retrace to its mean, 2018, 16, wherever it bottoms in those areas, particularly going into the FOMC meeting on the 20th and 21st. The 21st is the next interest rate decision, and I'd like to get long the VIX prior to that meeting. And I'd love to see the VIX down around 20 at that point. I don't know if we'll get that low before the next meeting, but we've got 2 options to play long the VIX, UVXY and VXX, and you can kind of see they have different profiles. UVXY is still a little elevated, whereas VXX is looks like it bottomed and may be bouncing. So right now, again, as we'll see in the ETF spreadsheet, I think the risk reward for this VXX is a little more attractive right now than UVXY, because you can see there's more risk. It's got more downside than VXX. So hopefully that helps. Then we talked about yen. If we just get a reversal, they go bearish on China tomorrow or whatever. It'll push yen back down. And again, we think the sentiment is pretty extreme negative. And if they reopen a little bit, if there's any positive news, then the yen will go up, yang will go down, and on any given day you can swing these guys back and forth and make good money. So that's our real-time watch list for this week. Please let us know if you have anything else that looks attractive. Somebody mentioned NVIDIA. We'll take a look at that. We'll look at our bullpen real briefly. Pretty much removing most of the stuff that we had in the bullpen. DNN was a uranium. All the uraniums have run up recently. We moved EURL up to our main watch list. Here's 2 that these are kind of interesting, and as a bonus for watching this game plan video, I went and did 2 due diligence videos that are currently unlisted. One on KTOS, Kratos Defense and Security Solutions, and we've kind of been looking at that in our bullpen for a little while. So I won't spoil the conclusions and the analysis from this due diligence video, but again, in the notes, you can access this link to this due diligence video, hear in more detail what my analysis and conclusions were from the due diligence as of the 9th on KTOS, and also SATS, which is EchoStar Corporation. I also did that one, and the link to that due diligence video is in the notes, so you can access those videos. They're currently unlisted, and we'll release them as we're able in our publication schedule. But based on that due diligence, I'm going to take KTOS off, and again, you can hear why in that video, and I'm going to keep SATS, EchoStar Corporation. Again, in this video, you're going to hear it's a potential turnaround play. Well, we'll look at the chart. I would say long-term turnaround play. And again, you can hear more detail in that video. And then UROY is another uranium that we were watching, and they both have run up. So quickly look at the bullpen stocks. See if I'm missing anything in the news. You guys are talking about Ethereum, the Ethereum merge. Yep. The yen, yeah, we looked at Forex, and when we get to our ETF spreadsheet, Doge of Wall Street, we'll look at ETFs dealing with foreign currencies, foreign markets, etc. So you'll see DNNs run up, so I'm going to take that one off. You can see how easy it is to maintain a watch list in Webull. I just right-click, say delete, or if I want to put it, on another watch list, I can, but in this case, we're going to take DNN and UROI off. You see they've run all the uraniums way up right now. If they come back down, they'll pop up in my queries. I can put them back, but for now, I'm not going to chase those guys right now. So here's KTOS, and you can see the chart initially looked attractive, which is why it popped up on my screeners, on my queries. I wanted to take a look at it. It looked attractive. And again, in that due diligence video, you'll see why I'm taking it off. So I'm going to take it off, even though just from a chart, looking at the chart, it did look initially attractive. So right now, the only one I've got is SATS. And you can see it looks like SATS, EchoStar Corporation, kind of bottomed and bounced up a little bit. It's been in decline. If we zoom out a bit, you can see the steep decline and then just this bounce. If I zoom out further, it's got decent upside, but you can see it's been in decline for quite some period of time. So again, I needed to do that due diligence to see, is this something that could potentially turn around, or is it just going to keep declining? So again, you can hear my reasoning in that due diligence video. So now I'm going to grab a drink a sec. So I've got some new ETFs that I've added to our spreadsheet, and we'll see that in a second. I added jets. I didn't have jets on the spreadsheet. That's on airlines. So you'll see there's airlines and travel was a theme that I talked about in the strong dollar theme. Is since the dollar is strong relative to the euro, etc., potentially may benefit travel companies that do a lot of business outside the U.S. So I know United Airlines used to be an old Kramer favorite in terms of foreign air travel. So I wanted to see what was going on with jets. Again, opportunities to long airlines. If that becomes attractive. Try to remember if it was SPAC. I think Spacula turned me onto this DRN. This is another real estate leveraged ETF. It's a bull leveraged ETF on real estate. So I'm adding that. Yeah, it's from Speculation, Spacula. Thank you again for that one, Spacula. So we've added that to the spreadsheet. And then again, along the travel theme, I found another one, which is OOTO. And this is travel and vacation. It's a 2x leverage on travel and vacation. So again, another one you can play long travel. We can keep an eye on that to see if that becomes attractive. And then I found another one on treasuries. We've been talking, I know Tanavir has been talking about TLT. I'm in TMF, and we've looked at those. We'll look at those again. But I found another one called ZROZ. And so we'll look at the profile of that one relative to TLT, TMF, and some of the other treasury-based ETFs. So I've added all those to our ETF spreadsheet. So now we'll take a look at the overall spreadsheet. And again, our Patreons have access. You can access this spreadsheet anytime you want. If you want to make a copy of it and edit it for yourself, you can do that. Or again, I use this now on a daily constant basis. I also wanted to mention a couple additions. Is I added price and the 52-week low and high to the sector sheet. So another feature of this uh, Google Sheet is that there's a sector worksheet, and so during the trading day, I can watch the sector rotation as money's going in and out of the various sectors. I can see who's underperforming, outperforming. I can see the volume, and I also wanted to see the current price and kind of see where it was relative to its 52-week high and low, or 52-day high and low. Kind of helps me know, hey, is it close to a bottom? Is it close to a top? Um, again, it gives me an idea of where it is in its range. So I hope that also helps you. Okay, so I've got that. So I'm going to jump around. I want to make sure I can answer all your questions. So I'm going to jump around a little bit. You can see here's Jets. I'm going to zoom this guy out a little bit so we can see it more clearly, and it's still large enough, hopefully, that you all can see. Let me know if that's large enough that it's still legible. I can go to 90% if you want it larger. Just let me know. But like I said, there's Jets. Doesn't really look all that attractive except from a bottom to top standpoint. I'm going to jump ahead to some of the other ones we've added. For our new members, the yellow indicates that I don't have it in my database. So all the other columns in white or rows in white, at the end of the day, these prices, the support and resistance, bottom and top, get automatically updated. The price and 52-week low and high are based on Google Sheet, Google Finance function. So they're real-time updated with a 20-minute delay. But these other guys I pull from my database and automatically update. The ones in yellow are not in my database because they weren't all that attractive. So they do not get updated on a daily basis. I have to manually update those. So just so you know what all those colors mean, the green means that it's greater than a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for, greens across the board in terms of risk reward profile. That becomes attractive. There you can see why I put EURL on our watch list, is it's got a nice risk reward from support to resistance. It's over 2, 52-week low to high, it's over 2, and currently it's 8 or better. So the risk to the support level compared to the reward to the resistance level is a factor of 8. So that makes it very attractive. So that's why it's on our watch list. Love to go long that if we catch a dip. So some of the golds we added. Solars. So there's that travel guy, OOTO. Here's that ZROZ. Again, you see I added it to see how that looked relative to TMF and TLT. And as you can see, it's even support to resistance. It's a little better than TLT, but it's still not better than 2. We see TMF is a little better than TLT. You see the current, we were talking yesterday, Tanavir was asking about the profile of TLT. So I've got a support level, which essentially it's at 108. So it's got a small risk down. And again, you were talking about shorting it. Well, it looks like it's pretty close to a support level. So I wouldn't be looking to short something that's close to support unless it breaks down through that. Now, it's got a decent upside from here. So if you're long TLT, that looks halfway decent, but the risk reward isn't all that great, either from support resistance or from a 52-week basis, which is why I'm long TMF, is the risk reward profile. Again, short term, not great. Long term, better than 2 to 1. So that is why I am long TMF still. So I hope that all makes sense, and I hope that all helps. So DS Greg is asking, is the lockdown easing in China help BDRY? Well, potentially. Yeah, potentially more shipping, higher demand. And the fact we talked about dollar strength is that favors imports, right? So all of those factors could potentially be tailwinds for BDRY. So that's a good thing. That was a good question, DS Greg, and I think that's an additional tailwind that if we can get in BDRY, that should be attractive. So, okay, we also talked about volatility, and I wanted to compare UVXY to VXX. So you can see here's the two volatilities, and you can see how VXX from a support resistance is a little bit better. The risk reward profile is a little bit more attractive than UVXY. However, from a 52-week basis, UVXY is a little better than VXX. Again, you can access the strategies, the difference in the definition of these guys. I've got the links to these ETFs in the ETF database, also in a column in the spreadsheet. So you can click in there and get more information about the composition of the ETF, what's its strategy, etc., fees, all of that. So if you want to dig deeper, which I recommend that you understand these ETFs, particularly the leveraged ones, it says what is their strategy, when does it rebalance, what's the fee structure, etc. You can use those links to easily access those. So somebody else was asking about foreign currencies. Here's the yen. I've been looking at these to see if there was anything attractive. I've got this one that FXY is one on the yen. It's currently from a immediate risk reward. It looks attractive, but even from support to resistance, it's only factor 1. So it just none of these other columns is showing green. So I didn't pursue that further. ULE is on the euro, and we did do a trade on that a while ago. But it's just right now the support to resistance isn't that great. The 52-week isn't that great. So again, I took a look at that guy and I didn't want to pursue it because again, the risk reward profile isn't what I'm looking for. So I hope that helps. So if anyone wants to look at any other ETF categories, let me know. Otherwise, let me try to answer some questions from other traders. Shopping list, we've been talking for quite a while about recession-proofing your portfolio. Yesterday, we talked about interest rate hikes, and I'm working on a very similar set of strategy videos. It'll be one or more like the recession-proofing videos about how to handle rising interest rate environment that we're in. I think Spacula or someone else asked that yesterday. We talked a little bit yesterday about strategies for trading, making money in a increasing, rising interest rate environment. We've been talking about this for almost a year, so I'm going back, parsing out those strategies as well, and releasing similar videos. So you can see the ones on recession-proofing strategies, and again, there'll be more coming on making money trading in a rising interest rate environment soon. So I want to get to your questions. So Spacula asked about Rivian. I've got the links to the original discussion. Essentially asked, is it more attractive given the recent news? He posted the news. I'll jump over there. Hopefully y'all are in our Discord. Again, it's free to join our Discord. The link's in the description box below. You can find the link to our Discord, all our social media, all these tools that we're using and showing are on our homepage, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U, in the links section. So again, all the links to our various social media, our Discord, our Facebook group, etc., you can find in the link section on our homepage. So the news Specula shared with everybody is some deals with Mercedes-Benz, Mercedes and Rivian, $3 billion boost, etc. So he was asking, does that change my thesis on or my conclusions on Rivian? Again, I posted the link to this due diligence video I did on Rivian. You can listen to that, hear what my previous conclusions were and why. And I promised to talk about it today. But essentially, again, my response was, no, it doesn't really change my opinion on them, because I want to, as you'll hear in that video, I want to see that they can actually be profitable, they can sustain positive cash flow, show a profit. Now, these things are going to help if they actually get injections of funding. Their probability of surviving the recession are much higher. They've got support from Amazon, they've got support from Mercedes-Benz. Those are all very positive. So their probability of surviving the recession are increased, right? Plus they've got the tax breaks from the, what they call it, the Inflation Reduction Act or whatever. So there's some tailwinds which are positive for Rivian. And again, all of these things make it more probable that they'll survive the recession. Now the question is, you'll see I also commented, remember how many car companies there used to be, DeLoreans and what was Tuckers and all kinds of car companies, and even the big car companies, GM, Ford, etc., probably wouldn't have survived if they didn't get bailed out. So car companies, it's a tough business, and when you hit a recession, people quit buying new cars, and they lose money. It's tough to survive. So the question is, in this EV market, how many of these guys are going to be able to survive? They've got to be able to show they can make a profit and survive a recession. We're in a recession. So how many people are going to buy these EVs given their price tag? So you really have to consider that. And in my opinion, you watch them. And if they can show a profit, if their sales are increasing, maybe they'll be one of the survivors. But again, they're up against, these smaller companies are up against GM and Ford and Tesla and companies that are more well-known, have bigger war chests, etc. They already have all the infrastructure. So it's not going to be easy. So watch them and see. So is my opinion. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers the question, at least for now. Now we'll come back and we'll revisit them. If we see positive signs, we keep seeing these positive news. And again, I'm talking about a longer term investment, a long-term swing, in terms of my opinion that I just expressed. In a second, I'm going to talk about the difference in different trading time frames and approaches. So again, my whole answer there about Rivian is in terms of a long-term investment, buy and hold, or a long-term swing, that I would wait to see how they fare through the recession and if they're going to be one of the survivors. So I don't know if T. Ellis is in our live chat right now, but she asked these questions. She DM'd me these questions originally, and you'll see I posted my response in the Discord, and I promised to talk about it here in part 2 of our weekly trading game plan. She was asking about water stocks, and I didn't have anything in my ETF spreadsheet, so I did some quick screens in FinViz and the ETF database. And I'm going to show you guys real quickly how to do this in FinViz, just as a technique. So I'm going to jump out of here. And I'm just going to show you how I got that list of water stocks in FinViz. So now I'm on the FinViz home. Again, you can find links to FinViz off of our homepage. They're in our notes, etc. So if you just go to Screener to start, if you want to find a list of stocks for any sector, industry, etc. You can start here. What I did is looked for utilities. Well, I'm going to back up. Okay. So first I just did this. I just said water. Show me water stuff. And so you see I've got 33 with water in the company name and then a bunch of stuff with water in its description. So in looking at this, it's all okay. There's a bunch of biotechs and shell companies. Okay, that's not interesting. But the majority of these are in an industry called utilities regulated water. So I said, okay, well that tells me what I should be looking for. So I go to the screener, utilities regulated water, and I get okay. Now I've got 15 different regulated water stocks, and I could see kind of the basic information, their market caps, PEs. Now we see a bunch of the PEs are dashes. That says they're not profitable. So I said, well, I'm not interested in those guys. I want just the profitable ones. So I'm going to jump over to fundamentals. I'm going to say PE greater than 0. I want profitable. So now I'm down to 11. Now, something to show you also real quickly is if I go to technicals and I say, well, I want somebody with a risk reward profile that gives me, 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So I could say, okay, show me anybody who's 50% or more below their 52-week high, which would say, okay, in the past year, I've got a potential of a 2-to-1 reward. Nobody. Okay. So that says essentially I'm not terribly interested in any of these guys from any kind of near-term risk-reward profile. You can dig into these in more detail in this chart in FinBiz if you just do what I did, or you can click on the link that I've got. It'll essentially bring you to the same thing. So it shows you the same thing, profitable, utilities regulated. So it's the same thing I just showed you how to do. And you can dig in more detail. You can see their valuations, EPSs, etc. You can look at dividends. If you're looking for a dividend, you can see what they pay. They all pay like 2%. Again, not terribly interesting because that's still below inflation. So, and then you can look at the charts. So I think someone mentioned comment on this one, CWCO. So you can see it's very high. It's approaching a resistance upper trend line. It did do a breakout, so it's got some momentum if you want to chase that. But again, I'm not interested in chasing something like that. I did look at this PYCO. But again, the risk reward just wasn't there. So another nice thing about FinBiz, I can open the chart in another window. I can zoom out to the monthly real quick, and it's just still not a 2-to-1 risk reward. I see their metrics, etc. So again, I didn't find any of these individual stocks in the utilities regulated water category to be very interesting. But again, if you find any of these attractive, I hope that helps show you how you can look at them quickly and easily, evaluate them, compare them, etc. So I'm still not adding any of these water stocks to my database. I'm not tracking any of them at this time. So the other category I looked at is ETFs. I said, okay, well, maybe there's a ETF that would be interesting. So I went to the ETF database, and essentially I'll show you how to find stuff there too real quickly. All I did is go to the ETF database, and again, you can find this link on our homepage. Go to the search, type water. And now you look for, okay, a list of water ETFs. So water equities ETFs. So that's what the link in the notes is this list of water ETFs. So again, I didn't see anybody leveraged. Also a performance. Yeah, the performance they've all lost quite a bit this year. So year-to-date performance has been kind of poor. So then what I did is I copied this table, this list right out here, and another tab I have in our Google Sheet, our ETF Google Sheet. You can see here's ETF database. So this sheet allows me to copy paste something from the ETF database. So I set this up to quickly evaluate anything coming out of the ETF database. So I just took those guys and pasted them in, and without any additional work, I could see what their 52-week risk reward profile was. Now, if I wanted to dig deeper, I could manually enter the bottoms and tops and supports and resistance by looking in FinViz or Webull and manually figuring out, support, resistance, bottom, top, look at those risk reward profiles. But, from an initial look at them, none of them were showing a 52-week of 2 or better. And none of them are leveraged. They're all, negative performance. So I stopped there, said, I'm not interested further in any of these water ETFs. So right now, to answer the question, no, there isn't any water stocks or ETFs that are of interest to me. But again, your desires may be different. Your trading style might be different. You may be able to use these tools to find something that's of interest to you. And I do hope that all helps. So let me go answer a couple more questions. Captain Maddie asks in a comment on part 1 about GovX. So let me look at GovX in FinViz, and I'll babble about that. So here's GovX in FinViz. So we can see it's very volatile, right? It pops up and then drops and pops back up and drops and pops back up. So this is, and it's a biotech. It's a vaccine, a monkeypox vaccine stock. We see they lose a bunch of money. They don't have a bunch of cash. It's relatively small float, which would attribute to those pops, as they can pop it, and it's a pump and dump. Somebody pumps it, news comes out, they've got cases, whatever. Somebody pumps it, it pops way up, and then it plummets. So very high risk. If you're day trading, scalping, again, my comments, are totally different based on if you're breakout trading, etc. Very nimble, but again, this is very high risk, right? This guy peaked there and immediately dropped severely. So again, when they come out with news, it's going to pop, and when that fades off, it's going to plummet. Now, if you guys want me to dig in deeper and actually do a due diligence on them to look at, their actual cash burn, etc., I can do that if you'd like, but we can see they're losing a bunch of money. They don't make any money. Their sales are minuscule. The cash per share is not great. Right now it's trading below cash. We can see it tested and failed its 200-day moving average. So right now you can see it when it popped up, it failed, likely going to go down unless there's some further catalyst. They get further news to pop it back up. Right now it's sitting at that moving average. It's more likely to fail than it is to continue. So again, if you're breakout trading, day trading, scalping, you want one of these big movers. Typically they're biotechs on news. They'll pop, but be very careful. It's very high risk. Make sure you got stops in these cases, because again, the propensity is that it's going to drop fast, and they can halt, and you can't do anything, and it may open up down below your stop, and there's nothing you could do. You're going to potentially lose money. So I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Again, you can make money if you're very nimble with things like this. So that's up to you. This is not financial advice, but I don't want to see people get hurt. I don't want to see them blow up. blow up your account, leave trading because you blew up your account. We want you to be successful in your trading. Have this as a life skill where you can make money from anywhere, anytime. There's always some ways to make money, and that's our goal, is to help you succeed in your trading. We don't want to see people blow up. So I do hope that answers the question. But biotechs in general tend to be like this, right? They lose money, they pop on news, they plummet when that initial pump fades. It's very typical. Okay, somebody was asking about NVIDIA. I want to wrap up soon. If you guys have other questions, please put them in the comments to the video like Captain Maddie did. I will try to address them. If I can't address them as part of our game plans, I'll try to respond in the comments. You can also ask in our Discord and our Facebook group. Hit us up on social media, etc. Again, all the links to all our sites are on our homepage, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. And I'll try to respond, as I'm able. Hopefully your other BeachBum traders will also help. I see increased activity between our fellow BeachBum traders helping each other out in our Discord, and that's great. That really helps me out. I can't always respond to everybody, particularly during the trading week, because bottom line is I make my money trading. So so I have been looking at NVIDIA. The chart, from a purely technical standpoint, and again, if you guys want me to do a due diligence on NVIDIA, do a video, just let me know. I could do that. But I could tell you my initial take on NVIDIA is I look at the PE and it's still too high. Again, from a technical standpoint, it looks attractive, except, again, if you zoom out a little bit, it's still kind of high. It's got a pretty nice risk reward, but it's still got a lot of downside. Semiconductors are all under pressure right now because they've all announced poor guidance. There's comments of a oversupply, a glut in semiconductors now. And, we predicted this a long time ago when they talked about the shortage in semiconductors. We said, yeah, semiconductors are a commodity just like gold, silver, oil. They undersupply and then the price goes way up, and then they oversupply and the price goes way down. So it's a nice one to cycle. And we like using SOXL, SOXL, and SOXS to long and short semiconductors as an industry. But NVIDIA specifically, and again, you see it fell off the cliff on this monthly chart. So right now it looks like there's more risk than potential reward. I've been looking at it. I've got it in a query that I watch, but they're just too expensive and there's too much risk right now. That's my opinion again. So I'm going to wrap. If anybody's got a last minute question, if I missed your question earlier, I apologize and throw it back up in the chat. I'll try to respond. Otherwise, again, join our Discord if you're not already participating in our Discord. We've got a great community. We're trying to grow our community. Please tell your friends, your fellow traders, if you like this information. We hope you'll like this video. If you're not already a subscriber, we hope you will choose to subscribe to our BeachBum Trading YouTube channel. And again, join us in our Discord. It's free to join. Participate in the discussion. Ask any questions you may have there as well. So otherwise, hope you guys have a great trading week. Again, let me know if there's anything you'd like to see improved in these game plans. We'll try to do what we can. If you have other suggestions, we do have a suggestion box in our Discord as well. So you can ask for due diligence on videos, some of the ones I mentioned. If you'd like to see due diligence, you can comment on this video or put it in the suggestion box. So otherwise, again, good luck. Have a great trading week, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.